Hi everyone, welcome. I haven't done one of these in a while, so I thought I would check in with you all, see how you're doing. We are on day 40 of our 100-day project, and this little orange book hosts most of my images. There is, I think, one that didn't fit in here, so that's probably going to go on the wall. So I thought I would share with you how I am doing, and then maybe in the comments you can share how you're doing, and also if you're doing it, and make sure there's like a little link so that I know how to find your images. All right, I'm going to share my overhead. I'm Charlotte Hamilton. If you didn't know who I am, I know a lot of you do, but if you didn't and you're here, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate the love from our community. All right, so I've got my book, and this is, I think I've told you, it's a Beachmore book of London, and I really do love the quality of it. So what I did was I started off by thinking about what I wanted to do for my 100-day project. And because I had just been to Oaxaca and San Miguel de Allende in Mexico on, well, in Oaxaca, I was on a sketchbook art retreat with Trova Trip. And I just thought I didn't get a lot done. I've shown you a flip through of this sketchbook, and I will link that as well. This is the one that starts off like this. I think I did a live, but I'll link that so that you can have a look through that one as well. But this was specifically my 100-day project, and I thought, okay, I'm going to use my camera roll. I'm going to look at images that really meant something to me because it brings me joy. And we are up here in Canada, and really, Canada is freezing still right now. It's not very warm. We're at the beginning of April, and we have had 5 months of cold weather. So if you really want to come with me, there are still some spots open in my sketchbook art retreat to Oaxaca in Mexico. It's super wonderful and colorful, as you'll see through some of my images. There may be a couple of San Miguel de Allende images in here as well, but we're going to Oaxaca, and I'll talk a little bit about what we do there. But this was a look at colors of Oaxaca, and I was using gouache, like just regular gouache for this one. And then this one was, we went to a restaurant called Tierra del Sol. If you have ever been to Oaxaca or are going, go and visit Tierra del Sol. With the group, we went to this restaurant the last night for our farewell dinner, and it's a Michelin star restaurant, and they make everything from scratch. It's amazing. And we were fortunate to have the most amazing guide who was able to describe everything to us and explain, if some people didn't understand the waiter, what the different foods were, etc. But they're all locally sourced foods. So this was a pestle or a mortar with a lot of the herbs that are made, that are used to making like the sauces and moles and things like that. So that's also done in gouache. Then this was from a little coffee shop that we went to, a very nondescript coffee shop that you would not find unless you were looking for reviews on Google. So I did a lot of research before we went, and we had a lot of downtime. Actually, not too much downtime, but when we did, we tried to find little places to go and sit and sketch. We would sketch wherever we were, whether we were at a restaurant or at a coffee shop or out in the streets or at the Zapotec sites. Anyway, this is Amateraza, and it was full of greenery. It was like little terraced areas with beautiful little corners and nooks. I wish I had taken more photos, and I know that I have photos of everybody sketching there. It's a really pretty place. So if you're going to Oaxaca, go to Amateraza as well. This was inspired by a lot of the murals that are there in Oaxaca and in San Miguel de Allende. And the pattern is inspired by, I'm going to get his name wrong. I think it's Lucas Rain. But if I got that wrong, I will correct it and put it in the description of my post. But in San Miguel de Allende, there is a fabric, no, not a fabric, it's a craft collective that there's a lot of galleries, and this artist had furniture painted and he had done a couple of murals around town. It's not a copy, but I was looking at his colors that he was using. A lot of triangles are used in their artwork as well. So it's my own design, but it was inspired by one of his pieces. This is back in Oaxaca. On one of the trips that we do, the excursions, we go to a candle making home, like a local family home that makes candles. And this is Bibiana. There's an article of her in Vogue, and she was there. She's 87 years old, making candles. And we actually got to see her making these beautiful floral candles. And this is her dripping wax down onto these long wicks that build up to be probably 15 centimeters diameter and that long. And then they attach these beautiful florals around them. And they use that for the engagement party of family members. So that was a really special outing. This was just driving by along the street when we were going to one of the Zapotec sites. I took a lot of photos as we were driving in the bus because I knew that we weren't going to be able to stop. And this to me is very Mexican, and something that, maybe is on the outskirts, maybe in not such a wealthy area, but it's very traditional, and it's probably where families go to have dinner at Las Carnitas Java. This was a couple sitting under or near the tule tree, el tule. It's one of the largest trees that is known around, and the oldest tree. So it's over 2,000. They're thinking it's over 2,000 years old. I don't think I've got a picture of the tule tree in here, but it's incredible. It's a real wow, and I should have taken a whole bunch of pictures of the whole tree and done almost a David Hockney and done a collage of all the tree together, because I think that's the only way that could have explained it, because one viewpoint from your camera definitely couldn't have explained it. So that was another outing that we went onto. And that day also we had an archaeological guide who was able to tell us a lot about just the town that the tule tree was in, etc. So we're very fortunate with the guides that we had as well. This is in Oaxaca in el 21 de noviembre, which is one of the markets there. It is a meat market or a meat stall, but the colors were so incredible. And Lou, who was there with us, she took this photo. We recently had a market session, drawing session, with our paying subscribers, and this was one of the images. So that was fun to do, but I included that in my 100-day project. This is of Michelle Allen and Marigoda. If you know either of them, if you don't, I will link them in the description below. I think a lot of you do know them. I was fortunate to go on a trip to San Miguel de Allende with a wonderful group of artists, and this was walking back from having been sketching all afternoon in this hotel restaurant. It was so wonderful. I can't remember the name of the restaurant or the hotel. I think it's El Hotel Parque or something like that. And the light was really lovely, beautiful weather, small streets, cobblestones, just very special. This is just being inspired by lots of different murals and looking at symbols that had on not just one mural, maybe 3 or 4 different murals that I've taken photos of. Another excursion we did was to go to Cafe Crespo, which is a cooking school. And this is Oscar from Cafe Crespo. And we made a 4-course or 5-course meal. He took us to the market, explained all the different fruits and vegetables and what they're used for. He asked us what we would like to cook in our menu. He took note of everybody's allergies, and it was really, really special. And he put us to work. We were working for like over 2.5 hours. We were cooking for that meal. And then at the end, we got to enjoy the meal as well. This is Tacos de Chon, another quick photo as we were driving to one of the Zapotec sites. But I really love the shadows. The shadows really shouted out to me. And so I made it extremely simple and just added those shadows. And I think they really work. I probably should have added another shadow here. This was from a live Substack that I did. And so you can probably look back and have a look at it. There was a couple of objects that we did some sketching of from this little shop in San Miguel de Allende. And this one was a Zoom meet that we did together, a shop of oddities or museum of oddities. It was this wonderful guy who allows people just to walk through his shop and you know, be in awe of all the things that he's collected over the years. He does sell them, but you know, if you're just a tourist, you're probably not going to be taking some of those things home, especially not a big bronze lion like this. This was our first day in Oaxaca. Some of us arrived a day early. I would highly advise it if you're coming with me to arrive a day early. It just means that you relax into the week and you get that day for walking around, relaxing. We went into town, we did some sketching, and then we went and had lunch all together. It was very special. This was a lady, I think she just finished work and she was waiting for a ride. That was in San Miguel de Allende. And this one also is in San Miguel de Allende. I did a drawing session with Samantha Dion Baker, and we shared some images from San Miguel, and this was one of hers. Part of Marche Make a Difference, we were highlighting people in our lives or in history who have made a difference, and I focused on artists, and I think there were musicians as well and writers. And so this is Frida Kahlo, and because she's Mexican, I thought it would be great to put her in the book. This was morning light on the beautiful building. Actually, it wasn't such a beautiful building, but the light really changes everything. And this was in San Miguel de Allende as well. They don't have as many colorful buildings. The difference between one and the other city is that Oaxaca is incredibly colorful. Everywhere you go, there's a different color building and super clean. And people really, really do take care of their city, Oaxaca de Juarez. It was Leslie who came with us to Oaxaca. It was her birthday. This is very much an eyesore, this blue. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to take that away. This is Leslie, and she came with us to Oaxaca, and it was recently her birthday, but I had taken a photo of her. The perspective is a little bit wrong, but we used to, in the morning, we'd have breakfast together, and there are these beautiful ceramic. They make a lot of ceramics in Oaxaca, and they're all like hand painted ceramics, and they serve chocolate caliente, which is hot chocolate. You can either have it with milk or without milk. So these were those cups. It's a beautiful tree in Oaxaca. It was just blooming. Really, really special. It's funny because up here in Canada, we have a lot of light even in the winter, and there are beautiful shadows. But there's something about being close to the equator in the middle of winter and having 28-degree weather, that's Celsius, and beautiful flowers blooming. in the end of January, beginning of February. So if you want to come with me, remember, like, I only have a few spots left and I'd love for you to come with us. This is Maria. She was doing some sketching and some journaling, and this was at Cafe Amaterasu as well. They have from street corner to street corner. A lot of times in Oaxaca, they have these papelitas, which are the big papers with cutouts, and they flap in the wind. I've done some other drawings of them as well. Anyway, this was in one square, like it was crisscrossing from one corner to the other, and it was completely filling my camera view as well. So it was pretty special. This is Lila Downs. She is a Mexican singer born in Oaxaca, and I really do have to correct this. This is, like, I've been meaning to correct that. It's very, very dark, and I just needed to take that away. It was just a little bit too dark. That's better. Oh, and also I'm going to correct this. Sometimes, you know, you do these portraits and you think that it's right, and then you look back at it and you go, oh, I could correct that. I could correct that. Anyway, I've been meaning to do that for a while. So Lila Downs has her own restaurant, or her and her mother have a restaurant. So if you're going to Oaxaca, go to, I think it's called La Cocina El Formador, or El Humito de Cocina, or something like that. I will put that also in the description below. This is in San Miguel de Allende. This is another one of Sam Dion Baker's images that we did the drawing session together. But I love how this came about, and I just added a little bit of pattern. This actually wasn't on the walls, but I thought it would be fitting to add a little bit of extra. This is a taxi in Oaxaca, a new taxi, because the old taxis, they look like they're just going to fall apart. But I love the contrast between I should have made this a little bit smaller. This is just shadow. But the contrast between, like, the really, really bright, colorful buildings and then the really dark shadows that are there. This is a Telayuda store. Telayudas, like, the food in Oaxaca is just incredible. I think it's been named #1 place, like, for food travel. Everything is made from scratch and everything is local. And Telayudas is called it means Mexican pizza, or it's referred to as a Mexican pizza because they use these big tortillas, fresh tortillas, and then they put them on the tamal, and then they put refried beans, and they put quesillo, which is Oaxacan cheese, and they put avocado and cilantro, and oh my goodness, they put, like, zucchini flowers, and they put a lot of things on. You can have meat, or you can just have it as a vegetarian one. I usually get the vegetarian one, not for any reason other than I don't think I could eat meat on there as well. But so this is a little market that we would go to, and if you come, I will take you there because it's wonderful, and there's lots of different choices of foods that you can have. This was a street in Oaxaca, but I put a dog that was following us in San Miguel. I put him in the picture because he had to go in there somewhere. This was a little scene from a wall with lots of, I was just using I didn't have many materials with me at this point, and I just used some neo colors for this. Lots of pots and rooftops with pots on, hanging pots. This was in San Miguel de Allende. Again, I was playing a little bit with what materials I had, and this is the famous church in San Miguel. A little beetle. You'll find beetles everywhere in Oaxaca and San Miguel de Allende. This one reminds me of my beetle, my first car, 1972 beetle. And she was called Ruby. So maybe I'll call this one Ruby. It does really look like Ruby. Whoops. Let's just take Ruby. Oops. not very good with the mechanical pencils. Again, just driving by, I took a photo and I thought this was perfect. We were always looking for papelerias, which are little, almost like a stationery shop, but they're tiny, but they have a lot of things in them. And that's usually where you can find some art supplies, but also with the well-known Corona beer on top. So this was kind of fitting. And I like it because it's not staged, it's captured. It's like a little snippet of a street in Oaxaca. And then we go back to the little market and I did a few images. This one is with markers. Again, like sometimes I don't have all my paints out, so I just use what I have. So these are little market scenes from this little organic market. And again, this one too, the herb market. So this is Roxana, this is our guide. She's incredible. And on the last farewell night, she played her little jarana, which she is a local guitar that they play this way of talking with each other with the jarana, and it's called I think they have a fandango festival if you look it up, and it was really special. Like she just sat there and sang to us all after dinner in the restaurant, in the Michelin star restaurant, and they were totally fine with it. It was all outside. It was really special. So very grateful to have a guide with us, and that's something that Trova Trip does. Is that they send a local guide with you, so you have them for the whole trip. If you have any issues or if you need to change something or you want to you know, focus a little bit more on having time to sketch, or you know, like if you want to change something, then they're there to help you. These are the papelitas that are hanging from the roads, and they create these beautiful shadows on the walls, and they always like flicker in the wind, like really very pretty. This was at the last restaurant as well. Oh no, this was at the first restaurant, at the welcome dinner, and it was called Las Quince Letras, which we found out. Las Quince Letras means 15 letters, and Las Quince Letras amount to 15 letters. Very traditional Oaxacan foods. These are tomatillos to make the what's it called, the green salsa. I'm gonna forget what it's called. I'm sure somebody will remember. You can comment in the comments, that would be great. And now I'm going to do a quick little sketch for today's image. And today's image is a little corner of the town, which we passed by if we walked into town. The I think it's called the Golden, something like the falling golden tree or the cascading golden tree. It's blooming when we go, and it'll be blooming next year as well. So that's why I want to go at that time. I think it's really special. And I'm going to work like how I would work if I was working and sketching out on the street. So if I had a page that I wanted to work with, we did a lot of prep before we went on the trip. And this way we were able to look at colors together and also just get some base paint on our page. So I know that, you know, I have photos from Oaxaca. So for me, it's quite easy to say, okay, I think if you put some of this color on your page, then you're going to be able to use it in this area where we're walking. Or so I have an idea what I want to teach or want to show you. And this way it was almost like I was prepping everybody for what was to come. Not giving everything away, of course. So I'm just going to make a very quick, almost like if I only have 10 minutes. So maybe I'll set the timer for 10 minutes so that you can see that if I can find my timer, maybe I can't find my timer. Oh, there it is. So that you can actually see that we can work quickly, and by setting our clocks, it'll give us an idea of what we can get done within that time. Just, you know, if you're out sketching. And so anyway, we'd have the 3 or 4 Zoom sessions before we actually go on the trip. And this way we get to know each other a little bit, which for me is very important. Not everybody came to the Zoom sessions, and that is absolutely fine. Some people don't feel that it's necessary to get to know who you're going on a trip with, but I really like it. So that's how I work, but you don't have to come to the sessions. All right, so I can see some beautiful mountains in the background, and they're kind of this mauvey color. And I know that this color is not the color of the building, but I'm going to use it. It doesn't always have to be representing the actual color. And I did have this 14B sharp, and then it broke. All right, so if I take my 14B, which is a pencil that I really love, and I'm going to look at where all the dark contrasting colors are, like the very dark blacks, for example, where the doorways are. And then we have this that comes down here. Sometimes it can just be a matter of like those harsh darks and the lights, the chiaroscuros, and that will give a really great image. Again, we only have 10 minutes, so I'm just trying to get as much on here as possible. And while I'm doing this, I can tell you that if you are thinking of coming with me to Oaxaca in February 2026, that because I only have a couple of spots left, I think I have one early bird special remaining, and I have after that I have 4 other spots, and that's all. And you don't have to put the whole amount down. I think it's only 25% that you have to put down. The trips are under 3,000 US dollars. Flights are not included, but I think the average flight was around, I think it was around 600-700 or maybe less from the States. And if you're coming from Canada, you're probably looking around $800-900. So then you can really think about like how much the total would be. And you get 8 excursions and 2 evening dinners, 3 lunches, and every breakfast is included, and the accommodation is included, and yeah, all the excursions. And if we want to add on to that, then we can add on to that. But it is a really week filled with like culture and art and just a look into their traditions and visiting these special places. I think, just wowed. This was my second time back, and I was still wowed this time. And I know that if we're going back next year, and I'm going to be wowed again. And there are people who came on my last trip who have signed up again for this trip. So if you are thinking about it, don't wait too long. Like I said, you don't have to pay everything up front. It's 25%. And I think in America, you can use Affirm and make payments. That's also an option. I speak Spanish, so that does help as well. I lived in Spain for 7 years. Y entonces hablo español también y puedo entender todo lo que están diciendo. Y so that really helps. But our guide who was with us, she's from there, so, and she speaks really good English. So that really helped as well. So I hope you will come with me and really get to share this experience with other creatives just like you. So you can see I really didn't use too many materials. I don't think it's important to, you know, have your whole art room with you. Like it's just enough that you have enough to be able to explain what you see. And we still have a couple more minutes. Let's put some more branches on here and some leaves. I didn't pull a green out, so I'm not going to grab one. I'm just gonna use what I've got. There are a lot more branches in here. There's a palm tree actually back here as well, but I won't add that either. And I love the shadows, even on the trees here on the side. So even if you're not an artist and you're not a sketcher, I think there is enough to do for anybody who wants to come on this trip, even if you just want to explore Oaxaca and the culture and the food. There's lots of ceramics there. There are printmakers there. All right, this got a bit messy because of my hand. Do I mind about this? Not too much. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. I could take a white crayon or a dark gray and put it there if I wanted to. So we're on day 41. And please go check out the itinerary. I will put a link in the post here so that you can check it out. Also in the YouTube video that I am attaching this to. Yeah, go and check it out. Let me know if you want any more information in the comments. I would love to chat with you a little bit more about my trip to Oaxaca. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.